In the summer of 2001, I had just completed my first year of rabbinical school, having returned from a year in Jerusalem, and I had been placed in my first student pulpit. Your last 4 years that you're stateside, you go to a small town in middle America to hone the craft, perhaps, to get some practice. Makes my stomach turn just thinking about those first sermons I gave. I think that's why they send you to the middle of nowhere, so it will never be recorded or remembered. If you get me with a couple of drinks, I'll tell you some pretty embarrassing stories from those student pulpit years, but I won't voluntarily give them out. So anyway, my first pulpit had a bumpy beginning, to put it mildly. You see, that summer, wasn't married, I had no kids, I had little responsibility, I had nothing else to do or worry about, I had all the time in the world to prepare for those high holidays. In fact, I wrote the best high holiday sermon you've ever heard. You know why? Because I never actually got to give it. Because Rosh Hashanah 2001 fell days after 9/11. And every rabbi's remarks were thrown out the window because they were completely irrelevant at that point, if you remember what it was like the days after. No one could have prepared the right message in advance, which of course brings me to tonight. I had the best message prepared. I was going to blow your hair back for those that still have it. But alas, it feels unrelatable and wildly out of touch with what's happening in Israel right now. Some of my colleagues in conversation over the last 24 hours urged me to simply give a disclaimer and then launch right into the sermon anyway. But I've decided that I'm now one sermon ahead for next year's planning. So here's what I got last minute. I want to share a beautiful teaching, a modern midrash from Sarah Tuttle Singer. Beautiful teaching for us. She says, before we existed, so the story goes, God convened a heavenly council, calling on the angels, each representing a different facet of the divine. There was the angel of peace, calm and serene, who spoke first and said to God, don't create them. Humans will bring strife and conflict. They will tear at each other and at the world you made. And next came the angel of justice, eyes sharp and discerning. Create them, justice argued, for they will seek fairness. They will build laws, and they will try to make things right, even when they fail. Then the angel of mercy, with a soft and knowing smile, create them, mercy whispered. They will love, they will forgive, they will comfort each other in moments of darkness. And finally, truth stepped forward, tall, unyielding. Do not create them, truth declared. They will lie. They will deceive. They will twist reality to suit their needs. They cannot bear the weight of truth as it is. God listened to the four angels and then realized, one, never ask an even number for a vote. And two, God realized that God didn't need the angels to weigh in after all, as God wanted to make humans. So God did something unexpected. God cast the angel of truth down to earth, shattering truth into countless shards. It was in that moment the choice was made. Humanity would be born, but not with the whole truth. Instead, each of us would be given a fragment, just a sliver of the infinite. So here we are, wandering through life, each of us holding our one tiny piece of truth, like a shard of broken glass. Sometimes it cuts us. Sometimes it reflects the light just so, illuminating something beautiful that we hadn't seen before. But here's the thing. None of us holds the whole truth. We can't. We were never meant to. And that's why our work on earth is so vital. It is up to each of us to pick up the pieces, to look at the jagged edges of our own fragment and reach out to others to see the truth that they carry, to fit our pieces together, and maybe, just maybe, catch a glimpse of something bigger, something whole. This isn't easy. It takes humility. It takes patience. It takes a hell of a lot of courage. Because when we hold our truth up to someone else's, we might see that our edge isn't as clean as we thought, that our understanding isn't as complete. But it's in that mess, it's in that beautiful collision of shards that we start to see a bigger picture. Unity is the thread that weaves the entire story. It's the reason God cast truth to the ground, scattering it amongst us like seeds in the wind. Because if truth had remained whole, if one person could hold it all, there would be no need for others. There would be no reason to connect. There would be no reason to seek out another's perspective. There would be no need to build bridges across the divides. But God wanted more than isolated, solitary beings. God wanted a world where we depend on each other, where our survival, our growth, our very understanding of the world and the divine requires us to come together. The shards of truth are scattered not as punishment, but as a divine design, pushing us toward unity, towards connection. It's in this fragmented world that unity isn't just an ideal, it's a necessity. Each person here and in our community, each of us holds a piece of the puzzle, a shard of the shattered truth. And it's only by coming together, by fitting our pieces alongside those of others, that we begin to see the full picture. That is the brilliance of God's plan. We were created incomplete. so that we would seek completion in each other. So here we are in this broken, beautiful world, each of us with a piece of truth in our hands. And the question is, what will we do with it? Will we hold it close, afraid to let it go? Or will we offer it up, trusting that together we might create something that shines brighter than anything we could imagine on our own? Because unity is the heart of this story. The reason we were created not as perfect beings, but as those who need each other. It's the lesson of the shattered truth, the divine nudge that tells us we are better together. We're more complete when we're united. And in that unity, we find the true essence of who we are meant to be. This year, 5785, may I urge us, encourage us, nudge us to get out of the silos of our truths. Listen, hear, seek out a kernel of truth from somebody else. Perhaps we can attempt to throw out the binary. We can throw out the either, the or, out the window and embrace the complex truths that are given to us by God. They are merely part of a puzzle, and that is how we will see the humanity in the other. Kini Hiratzon, may this be God's will. Say amen.